We're having technical difficulties here, so just give us one more second if you'd be so kind. And you can. Yep. Yep.
Okay. So yeah, all yours back in, John, like you had it. Oh, yes. No, I don't have to do that.
Yep.
All right, can you all hear me? On the Zoom?
Yes.
All right, thank you. All right, I'd like to call the Village of Cottage Grove Joint Review Board Annual Meeting to order on Thursday, October 5th at 4:39 on my watch. We are holding this as a hybrid meeting, meaning that we are in the Village Hall, as well as a number of folks on the Zoom. The Zoom link is atop the agenda, and the agenda was properly posted, and we do have a quorum. With that, you got everyone for, okay, thank you. Lisa's got everyone documented. So we'll move right to item 2, and that's discuss and consider our meeting minutes from our joint review meeting held on October 6th, 2022. Any questions, comments regarding the meeting minutes as presented?
I'll make a motion to approve as submitted.
All right, thank you, Don. Got a first from Don. Is there a second?
I'll second. This is Lori.
Thank you, Lori. Any further discussion? Having heard none, all those in favor then?
Aye.
Aye. Anybody?
Do I need to abstain because I wasn't at the meeting? Or does it
Well,
matter?
if you read the meeting minutes and you understand them, and you can.
Okay, aye. Just want to follow Robert rules.
Yes. Anybody abstain? Motion carries. Next, then, item 3 is appointments as needed. We have a public member. We have a public member.
That's me.
That's you. That's Don. And then, so Don is our public member, and then we need a chairperson.
Can do it. I did it last 2 years.
Okay.
3 years.
I'll make a motion that Don will be our chairperson. Is there a second?
Second,
Thank you, Mark. Any further discussion? Having heard none, all those in favor then?
Aye.
Aye.
aye,
All right, Don, take it over.
Okay. Item 4, review the annual PE 300 reports and the performance and status of the village active tax incremental districts as required by Wisconsin statute 66.1105, parent 4M, parent F. Greg, you're up.
Thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Greg Johnson from Ellers. I'm going to go through the cash flow report, starting with TID District number 5. So this district was created back in 2003. The expenditure period ended back in 2021. The maximum life of the district ends on May 19th of 2026, but the final year of increment collection is in 2027. This TID district is located primarily in Monona Grove School District, but a portion in Sun Prairie. The combined incremental value for the district as of January 1st of 2023 was $219,573,900. The fund balance at the end of 2022 was approximately $1.3 million. Based on the current projected cash flow projection, which I'll summarize in a moment, this district is projected to close in 2026. This district has existing debt service outstanding and several pay-as-you-go development incentives paid directly from increment from specific projects within the district. So those are the remaining costs being paid by this TID District 5. So in terms of the increment projection, we show a couple years of history. This is for the portion of the district that's in Monona schools. We show kind of the projected increment over the remaining life of the district. We're not projecting any additional growth in the district, so it's a conservative projection and projecting a continued decline in the tax rate as has been experienced for the past several years. So again, the district's final year of revenue collection is in 2027 if needed. For Sun Prairie schools, the same projection shows the incremental value in this district as of 1/1/23 is a little over 2.7 million for the portion that's in Sun Prairie schools. So, if there was no additional increase in value in the TID district, this cash flow kind of illustrates paying off the remaining obligations of the district. So we have existing principal and interest payments for this district, some ongoing administrative and professional services costs, which have kind of started to decrease as the district nears the end of its paying its final expenses. And then there's development incentive payments that are anticipated to be paid out over the remaining life of the district. But it's anticipated, as we look at kind of a couple years out, kind of with closure of the district, that there'd be sufficient cash balance to pay off those incentives early. So, the district is in position to close a couple years early based on current projections. So the village anticipates it's going to start paying off, those development incentives early as cash becomes available, and then we'll have fund balance to set aside to make the remaining debt service payments and, likely close the district early. So the district has generated a substantial amount of incremental value and, remains in a very healthy financial position. So I'll pause there, see if any village staff has anything they want to add, or I can answer questions on this particular district.
I have nothing else to add. Cameron Sawyer, Finance Director.
I think you muted Cam.
Oh, I was trying to catch you. So.
Any other questions on TID 5?
what's the value of the TID when it closes?
Well, the current incremental value of the combined district is for both school districts is about 219 million. So.
Oh, you showed that already, I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, it's okay. That could increase, decrease between now and closure, but that's what's there and certified as of the 1st of this year.
Okay, thank you.
There's no further questions on TID 5. We'll move on to TID District number 6. TID District 6 was created in, sorry, I think I have the wrong year. Let me skip ahead here. This district was created back in 2004 as a mixed-use district. The incremental value in this district as of 1/1/2023 is about 2.8 million in incremental value. It's likely at some point the village will be requesting extensions for this district just to kind of allow some additional time to recover costs. When this district was created, the village funded some infrastructure improvements, but the incremental value hasn't been sufficient to cover all of the debt service for those costs. So the village has been advancing funds from other funds to kind of cover that debt service that isn't supportable directly by the TID district. So that's illustrated here in the cash flow projection. So the tax increment, again, just assuming no additional growth in the district, the village has forgiven about 723,000 of advances through the end of 2022. Would need to continue to forgive some advances or advance funds to cover some of the debt service payments. So this shows the impact of that 6-year extension, which the village may request at some point. Once the debt service matures in 2029, the village could use the final 2 years to recover some advances. But for several years, the village has been covering some of the debt service with tax levy funds and using increment to support what's available for debt service. So that's kind of the history and kind of the anticipated plan going forward for this particular district. Any additions from village staff?
No additions.
Any questions on TID 6? So TID district number 7, we just provided the PE 300, the annual required report. This district has been terminated, was kept open for 1 additional year for the affordable housing extension. So the village is, kind of going through the termination process for this district. So there's, no additional expenses or no additional costs. All those costs and obligations of the district have been satisfied. So that really its primary purpose was just to collect additional years worth of tax increment this year for the affordable housing extension. Then that incremental value, will be returning to the tax rolls for this upcoming fiscal year. So Cameron, anything you wanted to add on TID 7?
Nope, we would just expect that the last meeting in March, the village board will take action to terminate the district. So that's more or less a formality that we need to get accomplished to meet DOR's requirement. As I think you had said, Greg, we already passed the resolution for the 1-year extension for affordable housing, which now requires us to close the district within a year of that resolution. So that, I think at the top of this, you saw the April 3rd maximum life of this district.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
2024. So that
Yep.
just we'll be keeping an eye on that in the next couple months here. Several months. That's all I have, Greg.
Any questions on TID 7? So TID district number 8 also kind of just supplied the PE 300 form for this district as well. There's been minimal fiscal activity within this district thus far. So, modest fund balance, no significant, revenue activity in 2022 and modest expenses in fiscal year 2022 as well. So the district, remains open to facilitate development opportunities as they come forward, but there's really been minimal financial activity, so we didn't really prepare a cash flow forecast just because there hasn't been a lot of activity in this district thus far, but remains open for facilitating development. So anything further village staff wants to add on this district?
Yeah, I might also, sorry, I'm gonna put this. So TID 8, the one development of note is Choice Dental, One Choice Dental. That's coming down the pipeline, and there's other projects that we're currently investigating. I did see Aaron on. I didn't know if you had any additional updates of potential upcoming projects in TID 8.
So First Choice Dental is under construction now, so that'll start adding. On the block next to that, there's a project that'll be coming to the Plan Commission for review in November. So if that moves forward, that would be, I'm estimating $2 to $4 million project on that site, and there's a few other ones that developers are kind of asking about, but that's as much as we know right now.
Thanks, Aaron.
Any further questions on TID 8? Next is TID District number 9. This was a mixed-use district created back in 2018. The expenditure period for this district ends in 2033. The termination date is in 2038, but the final year of increment collection is in 2039. The incremental value that's been generated in this district as of January 1st of 2023 is over 27.7 million of value. The year-end fund balance at the end of 2022 is about 140,000, 204,000 or $204 deficit. The projected closure is in 2028. But the village does expect to make additional project costs, in particular for land acquisition and some potential development incentives. So this projected closure is, taking into account that there could be additional development and project costs incurred, but just based on where things stand now, 2028 is kind of the time frame for the projected closure. So this just shows the history of the incremental value that's been generated in the district since its creation in 2018. So there's about 27.7 million of actual incremental value. And then kind of the completion of the Authentics development, estimated to have about another 18 million of incremental value. And then there's some demolition anticipated, which will cause some decrement. But, we're estimating that this district, hopefully in about a year's time, that incremental value could be in excess of 45 million. So if that 45 million of value comes to fruition, this shows the increment projection over the 20-year life of the district. That would generate about 12.3 million of incremental tax increment revenue collected in total. So in terms of the cash flow projection, the village is anticipating incurring some costs for land acquisition, which would be funded through a debt issuance of just some interim financing through a note anticipation note that could be amortized fairly aggressively based on the anticipated increment collection. So that land acquisition cost could be recovered by 2028. As I said, if the village does offer some additional development incentives, that could change the projected closure of this district. But the primary development in this district thus far did not require any TIF assistance, but that is providing resources for the village to do some targeted land acquisition to further some economic development objectives in the district. So I'll pause and see if village staff has anything further they want to add for TID 9.
Thanks, Greg. Yeah, so just to make it very clear that the village has no intention of closing the district in 2028. We're looking and in consultation with Aaron at an aggressive development in that TIF district yet because of the incentives or lack of incentives needed for Authentics. So the cash flow model that you see here, as Greg had mentioned, purely demonstrates what it would take to recoup the kind of committed cost that are known to date.
Any questions on TID 9? So the final TID district is TID district number 10. This is north of the interstate and is included in Sun Prairie School District, also where Amazon is proposed to be constructed. So this district was also created back in 2018 as a mixed-use district. Has the same time frame as TID District 9. Expenditure period ends in 2033. Maximum mandatory termination date is in 2038, but the final year of increment collection is in 2039. The incremental value that's been generated thus far is almost 3.5 million as of January 1st of 2023. Modest deficit in this district at the end of 2022 of about $40,000. The projected closure in this district is 2037. but similar to TID 9 kind of remains fluid as additional development opportunities come forward, particularly in light of the Amazon development. So with that, kind of we've estimated conservatively an incremental value of about 285 million for the Amazon project that's anticipated to be constructed over a 3-year period from 2024 to 2026. That's kind of, for now, all we've built into this forecast is just the estimated incremental value from Amazon, and then the 3.5 million of value that's already been constructed within the district. So over the 20-year life of the district, that would generate about 62.4 million of tax increment revenue within the district. In terms of the cash flow projection, the tax increment would be the primary revenue into the district. Under an anticipated, under a development agreement that's been executed with Amazon, about 80% of the increment will go to pay a development incentive not to exceed 48 million. There's a secondary incentive for Gray Wolf, which was also kind of one of the landowners within this district. They have a development incentive paid from increment up to 2.5 million, and then just some ongoing costs of the district. So as I mentioned, with kind of Amazon as the catalyst for this district, there remains other development opportunities within the district. Admittedly, when this district was created back in 2018, a project of the size and scope of Amazon was not known, both in terms of value and both in terms of cost. As the village continues to entertain development opportunities within that district, there's been no major financial outlay for Amazon yet. These all the incentives are tied to actual increment generated. So this project plan is going to be amended to just reflect the fact that a project of Amazon's magnitude has come forth, and as the village continues to evaluate development opportunities, maybe resetting other costs and infrastructure that may be necessary within that development. So generally positive. There hasn't been the outlay for this project, but an amendment will be necessary just because this project was not contemplated at the time the district was created. But certainly the district's existence helped facilitate securing the Amazon development. So I'll let village staff add any additional costs on this district.
Thanks, Greg. Just a reminder, TID 10 is entirely located in the Sun Prairie School District. As Greg had mentioned, conservatively, with the development of Amazon, some internal staff estimates have estimated the potential full build out of this district to be somewhere between 450 million to 500 million. So again, we didn't want to overstate the projected cash revenue or cash flow. Greg had mentioned too, with the possible amendment of TID 10, as well as TID 9, likely we would come sometime in the next year or so, once some of the other commitments are finalized, so we can kind of come to this group once.
Is there a date for when they're going to break ground?
There's not a date in place. We've kind of been in touch with them initially. They had thought that they were going to break ground in September of 2023. We were obviously a month past that. They've given us some information that they're looking to break ground early spring of 2024. I will tell you they're working on their state permits. We get calls and stuff from potential contractors of that development. So work is being done behind the scenes. I know it may not seem that way from an outsider perspective on whether or not this is moving. Aaron, I don't know if you've heard anything else recently.
No, that's basically it. You mentioned the September date as late as August. We were expecting that September date to be the one as well, and then they pushed it back due to some internal Amazon things, but they assure us this is still an important project to them. They own the land. And we expect them to get going next year.
Well, most of it's in, or it's all in Sun Prairie, so I guess I really don't care. I was just curious.
It's the first question everybody asks.
Well, with that comes other options as far as housing and things like that that could be pushed into our area. So I was just curious on that. So thank you.
Any other questions on TID 10? If not, that concludes my comments on each of the districts. Thank you.
Okay, item 5, approve the resolution acknowledging filing of the annual reports in compliance with annual meeting requirement for the Monona Grove School District and Sun Prairie School District. Have to read it.
Motion.
Adam made a motion. We have a second.
Second.
Lori made a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstain? Motion passes. Item 6, the one you've been waiting for, motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Mark made a motion to adjourn. Do we have a second?
Go for it, Lori.
Lori made
All day.
Adam wants to stay around longer.
Yeah, there you go. We have a motion and second to adjourn. Thanks, everybody, for taking your time out for this meeting.
Thank you.
And
For the
motion, we got to vote on it. All those in favor signify by
yeah.
saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.